The Water and Sanitation Department is calling on Gauteng consumers to significantly cut back on their water usage. This is due to a 2-month planned shutdown of the Lesotho Highlands Water Project tunnel system. Now, the tunnel will be shut for inspection and maintenance. Sputnik Ratau from the department joins us in studio now. Mr. Ratau, thank you very much for joining us so early in the morning. Explain to us why this tunnel is being shut down, the Highlands water system.
Well, clearly it is being shut down, as you correctly put it in your intro, in order that we can be able to do an inspection and a maintenance where necessary. This is something that has to happen every so many years, between 7 and 10 years of a period. It has to be looked into, just so that we know and we do not get caught out if anything goes wrong. You know that it is a very critical tunnel that brings in water from the Lesotho Highlands project, beginning from the mountains in Lesotho through to the integrated Vaal River system. Yeah. So we can't afford to have it go wrong.
So it's a routine maintenance program. Now, what compounds this problem is the Katsi Dam, which is at about 16% of its water levels. What's happening there?
Well, this is due to the ongoing drought. You remember the drought that started in 2014 didn't just hit South Africa, it hit the region as such. And Lesotho was not spared. And Katsi Dam is the most critical dam in the system that then drives the water into the tunnels in South Africa. So at the moment it is in a very critical stage, because over the last 2 years or so there hasn't been much rain in Lesotho, there hasn't been much snow. Because remember that the water that comes through is actually based mainly on the snowfalls in the winter that then thaws towards the beginning of the summer and then fills the Sinku River in
So this
Lesotho.
winter Lesotho has not seen any of that?
It hasn't seen much. It hasn't seen much, and that is why when you look at it, and when you look at Lesotho, you look at the Eastern Cape, they almost are similar in terms of what the situation is at the moment.
Talk to us then about what we as residents in Gauteng need to do in order to cut back and help with this over this next 2 months.
Yes, what we have done is that we have taken precautionary measures, as we should, that the amount of water that needed to be pushed through for the 2 months has come through. The integrated Vaal River system is kind of stable at the moment, but what we are saying is that we're looking at high temperatures at the moment. We're looking at the fact that the early rainfalls have not started yet, and therefore what we need to do is look at what we always say, that as South Africans, you know, the issue of water conservation and water demand management has got to be a way of life. Yeah. Reducing the amount of water that we use, shorter showers. We've seen the experience in the Western Cape that has been very helpful. Reuse and recycling of water, less pollution of our water ecosystems, less and actually none of the illegal connections that we see, because that actually is a big problem, because you actually lead to the leakages that then let quite good water run free. And therefore those are just some of the things that we need to look at. If we have to water, let us water before sunrise or after sunset. Irrigators, let us make sure that we actually irrigate before 6 o'clock or after 6 o'clock. And that is where our biggest concern is in terms of obstructions for irrigation.
Give us an update, Mr. Ratau, on the Vaal River. That was the river, as I understand it, that was being fixed, if you like, by the South African National Defence Force. What is going on in terms of the contamination of that particular river?
Clearly, that is a difficult one, because we still are quite a bit of a way away. The SANDF has done a lot of work in terms of stopping some of the manholes from overflowing within the area. Most of them have been stopped. But what is necessary now, and what has happened, is that we have now brought in Ervat from Ekurhuleni to now look at the pump stations along the river, and that is not just in Mfuleni but around the Sedibeng district municipality, because that is where the major problem is, where the pump stations do not treat to a sufficient standard the flows that then go into the Sebokeng regional sewer scheme. And that is where you find that the sewer scheme then is not able to actually treat sufficiently before it discharges into the river. So ERVAT has been placed, or rather put in place since about last month. We expect that they will be there for quite a bit of time so that we can be able to bring the pump stations to actual good activity. And that is where the necessity actually lies, that we have to have the pump stations operating optimally.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. Sputnik Ratau is from the Department of Water and Sanitation. Let's